I salute you, my eternal Germany. These were Alfred Jodl's last words before he was hanged for war crimes. But who was the man behind these words? A patriot? A war criminal? Or something in between? In today's video, we will dive into the life of the general who signed Germany's surrender and ended up on the wrong side of history. Alfred Jodl's legacy is a tangled web of loyalty, duty, and moral doubt. You see, on one hand, he was a decorated soldier who rose through the ranks to become Hitler's chief of the operations staff. On the other, he was convicted of war crimes and crimes against humanity at Nuremberg. His story raises a crucial question. Was Jodl simply a soldier following orders or a willing participant in the atrocities of the Third Reich? To understand how Alfred Jodl rose to become Hitler's chief of the operations staff, we need to go back to his roots. Jodl's path to military leadership was almost predetermined from birth. Born in 1890 as Alfred Baumgartner in Würzburg, Germany, Jodl came from a family with a long military tradition. His father, Johannes Jodl, was an army officer, and his younger brother, Ferdinand, would also become an army general. Jodl's parents weren't married until 1899. In fact, he didn't even bear the name Alfred Jodl until that year because Johannes Jodl's family firmly believed a farmer's daughter was not suitable for someone from a military family. Jodl's education was tailored for a military career from the start. He attended a military cadet school in Munich, graduating in 1910, and from there he joined the Bavarian army as an artillery officer. During the First World War, Jodl served as a battery commander on the Western Front from 1914 to 1916. His actions there earned him the Iron Cross Second Class for gallantry in November 1914. But Jodl's war experience wasn't limited to one front. In 1917, he briefly served on the Eastern Front before returning to the Western Front as a staff officer. By 1918, Jodl's military bravery had earned him further recognition. He was awarded the Iron Cross First Class for gallantry in action. These experiences and accolades shaped the military mind that would play a crucial role in World War II. After the war, Jodl faced a crossroads. He considered leaving the military to become a doctor, but eventually decided to remain in the much-reduced German army known as the Reichswehr. But perhaps the most pivotal moment in Jodl's career came in 1923 when he met Adolf Hitler. This encounter set the stage for their future collaboration and Jodl's eventual role in the Nazi regime. Jodl was appointed as a major in the operations branch of the Truppenamt, or troop office within the Army High Command, during the final years of the Weimar Republic. This position placed him under the command of General Ludwig Beck. His early collaboration with General Ludwig Beck significantly influenced his strategic thinking. By 1935, he had risen to the rank of Major General and was named Chief of the National Defense Section in the High Command of the Army. This position put him at the heart of Germany's military planning. As Germany moved towards war once again, Jodl's involvement deepened. On March 11, 1938, he signed the order given by Hitler to invade Austria, and later that year, he commanded troops in Czechoslovakia during its annexation. These actions marked Jodl's transition from a traditional military officer to a key figure in Hitler's expansionist plans. As Jodl's career in the military advanced, he found himself on a path that would lead him to the very center of power in Nazi Germany. Just days before Germany invaded Poland, Hitler appointed Jodl to be chief of the operations staff of the newly formed Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, or OKW. This position made him a key deputy to Wilhelm Keitel and placed him at Hitler's right hand as Germany plunged further into World War II. This wasn't just any military position. It put Jodl at the heart of Germany's war machine. But how did Jodl's relationship with Hitler evolve? As it turns out, their collaboration became surprisingly close. Jodl spent most of the war at the Wolf's Lair, Hitler's forward command post in East Prussia. There he was constantly involved in strategic planning and decision-making. This proximity allowed Jodl to develop a deep understanding of Hitler's thinking, making him an invaluable asset in implementing the Führer's policies. Jodl's influence grew as the war progressed. He played key roles in several major military campaigns. For example, he served as chief of staff during the invasions of Denmark and Norway. He was also instrumental in drafting and implementing the plans for the invasion of France in 1940. These successes further cemented his position in Hitler's inner circle, but Jodl's rise to power came with a heavy moral cost. As he climbed the ranks, he became increasingly implicit in the darker aspects of Nazi Germany's war efforts. On 6th of June 1941, Jodl signed the Commissar Order, which mandated that Soviet political commissars be shot on sight. This wasn't just a military decision, it was a clear violation of the laws of war. Then there's the Commando Order of October 28, 1942. Again, Jodl's signature appeared on a document that ordered the immediate execution of captured Allied commandos without trial. These actions undeniably place Jodl in the category of war crimes. As the war progressed, Jodl's commitment to the Nazi cause seemed unshakable. On February 1, 1944, he was promoted to the rank of Generaloberst, or Colonel General. Just a few months later, he was slightly injured during the July 20th plot against Hitler, suffering a concussion. In the end, Jodl's actions during the war would come to define his legacy. His pivotal role in implementing Nazi Germany's aggressive strategies, combined with his willingness to sign orders that violated international law, paint a complex picture of a man caught between military duty and moral responsibility. The question remains, was Jodl a patriot fulfilling his duty, or a willing participant in one of history's darkest chapters? Following the regional surrenders of German forces in Europe, Jodl was dispatched by Karl Dönitz, the head of the Flensburg government, to address the demand for immediate, simultaneous, and unconditional surrender on all fronts. On behalf of the OKW, Jodl signed the German Instrument of Surrender on May 7, 1945 in Reims. Following the arrest of Wilhelm Keitel on May 13th, Jodl succeeded him as chief of OKW. As Jodl's role in Hitler's inner circle came to an end, a new chapter in his life was about to begin, one that would put his actions under intense scrutiny. After Germany's surrender, Jodl found himself in a position he likely never imagined, from being at the right hand of the Führer to being one of the defendants at the Nuremberg trial. On May 23, 1945, British troops arrested Jodl near Flensburg. He was then transferred to Camp Ashcan before facing the Nuremberg trials. The charges against him were severe: conspiracy to commit crimes against peace, planning and waging wars of aggression, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. But what specific actions led to these charges? The prosecution focused on Jodl's involvement in signing two notorious orders, the Commando Order and the Commissar Order. These directives called for the summary execution of certain prisoners of war upon capture. In essence, Jodl was accused of authorizing actions that violated the fundamental rules of warfare. But how did Jodl defend himself against these grave accusations? His strategy was one we've heard before in similar cases. He claimed he was merely following orders. Jodl argued that as a soldier, he was bound by loyalty and duty to his country. In fact, he pleaded not guilty before God, before history, and my people. Jodl's defense wasn't just a simple "I was following orders" argument. He tried to paint a more nuanced picture of his actions.
Und ich war entschlossen, keine derartige Völkerrechtsverletzung unsererseits zu dulden und mitzumachen.
For instance, he claimed that he often attempted to obstruct certain measures by delaying them. He also pointed out that some charges against him were untrue, such as the claim that he helped Hitler gain control of Germany in 1933. However, the prosecution had strong evidence against Jodl. His own diaries and records were used to demonstrate his active participation in war planning. These documents showed that Jodl reported directly to Hitler on operational matters and was deeply involved in planning military strategies, including the invasions of Norway, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Greece. As the trial progressed, it became clear that Jodl's fate hung in the balance. The world watched as a man who had once been at the heart of Nazi Germany's military machine faced judgment. The question on everyone's mind was, would the court accept Jodl's defense of simply following orders, or would they hold him personally accountable for his actions? In the end, the verdict was undeniable. Jodl was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death by hanging. His last words, "I salute you, my eternal Germany," echoed his unwavering loyalty to the country he had served, even as that service led him to his final moment. The implications of this verdict were far-reaching. It sent a clear message about military responsibility. Following orders was not a sufficient defense for actions that violated international law and basic human rights. Jodl's convictions set a precedent that would influence military ethics and international law for decades to come. You might think Jodl's story ended with his execution, but in fact his legacy continued to spark debate. In 1953, a Munich court posthumously acquitted Jodl of war crimes. This surprising decision reignited discussions about his culpability. Was he a willing participant in Nazi atrocities or simply a soldier following orders? Historians remain divided. Some argue Jodl was a loyal Nazi who knowingly committed war crimes. Others see him as a career military man caught in an impossible situation. His case raises challenging questions about personal responsibility during wartime. For example, should a general be held accountable for carrying out orders they believe to be wrong? Jodl's story serves as a stark reminder of the moral choices faced by those in power during conflict. It forces us to consider, where does duty end and personal responsibility begin? Thank you for watching. We hope you found this video informative. If you enjoyed learning about today's topic, make sure to check out our other video, Hermann Bulk, the Forgotten Panzer General. It's a fascinating look into the life and military strategies of one of World War II's most skilled yet overlooked commanders. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more World War II content. And we'll see you in the next one.